Here we go. Hello and welcome. This is Cheryl A. Major with thinstronghealthy.com, and I want to welcome you to day 2, season 2 of the Crush Diabetes 5-Day Challenge. And today we are going to talk about what we're drinking and what we should be drinking. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different examples, and we'll hear from everybody who's here. We've got Hazel, Vicky, and Leslie with us so far today. I'll keep my eye on who asked to be let in. And just to kind of recap, Hazel, how did you do with the food journal?
I thought I did okay, actually.
Okay.
I didn't eat anything that I wouldn't normally eat.
Okay.
The only thing I'm not sure about is when I make my smoothie in the morning, I don't know if I'm putting too much stuff in it. Like, you know, I put the protein powder in, that's just pea powder, and I put in, what's the green stuff?
Spinach.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I put in spinach.
We'll help each other through this.
A lot of spinach. And then I usually throw in a couple of fresh strawberries. Okay. And then I put in a teaspoon of almond butter, just so that I should have extra protein.
Yeah.
And 1 cup of frozen fruit.
Okay.
Usually pineapple or strawberries.
Okay. Okay.
Otherwise, it's got no taste.
You might be a little heavy on the fruit. I think I might back off a little bit on the fruit if it's a whole cup that you're putting in.
Well, it's a whole cup because it says it's only 70 calories a cup.
Okay, but the sugar content, I'm not so concerned with the calories.
I will cut down on that. That's why I brought it up. I wasn't sure if I was using too much.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we want our servings of fruit and veggies, but especially, I think if you've got strawberry in there, there's sugar in peas. So pea protein is going to have sugar in it as well, naturally occurring sugar if it's not added. So I would back that off to a ½ cup.
Okay.
In addition to the strawberries, I think that would be in your best interest, just a suggestion. And part of this, I mean, that sounds really good. And what we need to do when you're right on the right path is just to tweak a little bit, maybe amounts and amounts of stuff. If you want to add more stuff, I would add more spinach. If you're going to drop back on the fruit.
If I added much more spinach, I'll be in the bathroom all day the next day.
Okay, then leave it where it is. Leave it where it is. We don't want any emergencies. So, Leslie, how did you do with the food journal?
I think pretty well, thanks. Just trying to think what to say. Just, you know, trying to get in the groove of tracking. It's been a while since I've tracked what I eat. It's a good thing to get back into that.
Yep.
One thing is I tend to have iced tea with me kind of all day throughout the day. So I just kind of put that off to the right all along the whole thing. So for me, so that'd be one thing.
Okay.
I think overall pretty good. I ate a ginormous salad last night with all my good stuff in it, tons of good greens, a lot of which I grow, which is kind of fun. So
good. That's excellent.
Thanks.
And what is in your iced tea?
It's just plain black tea with lime and stevia.
Okay. Okay. And stevia is a good choice because you had asked, what can I add to my tea that won't give me a bump in my glucose? And stevia is one of them. And the other is xylitol. And xylitol tastes more like sugar. Stevia has kind of an aftertaste that some people don't care for. But stevia, I use it interchangeably in baking and everything, just as sugar. And that's what I use if I'm going to have a cup of tea and I want something sweet in it. So xylitol, couple of things. You have to be really careful if you have dogs in your world because dogs cannot process xylitol. So they just can't, it can kill them. So that's caution number one. Number two is, now that it's become popular, China has been producing a cheaper version that is made from corn. So if you have to make sure, and my advice is if a package says from China, I don't buy it. If I buy it by mistake, I donate it or throw it out. I just don't trust the food practices in that particular country. They're just not well regulated at this point. Now that may change, I hope, but at this point, I think it's subject to question. So, and also you want to make sure that it says that it's made from hardwood trees, usually birch trees is what xylitol comes from. I made this mistake. I ordered, I said, wow, that's cheaper than it usually is. I think I'll get that. And I thought I looked at the package online. I got it and I turned it over and it said made from corn and made in China. So you have to be careful. And we're going to talk on Thursday, we're going to talk about food labels and what to watch for, how they try to trick us and deceive us, and what you have to kind of flag for yourself. And when it's not going to be, you know, the Bimford 500 on everything about food labels, because it actually is quite complicated, but we'll do kind of the high points. So you can take a couple of things with you to the grocery store that you can look on the front and the back and, you know, have a good sense of what it is that you're buying. So good job. Vicki, did you do the food journal? I know you couldn't be with us yesterday.
Right. I have, well, let's just say I'm getting better.
Yay.
This past weekend, the family was here and I baked everything that they like, which
Okay.
is not healthy. I mean, I
Okay.
had fixed pies and cake and a salad that's got a lot of sugar in it. And
Okay.
I did throw out the rest of the cake and pie today. I just threw it out.
You did?
I did. And then I tied up that trash bag so I wouldn't get into it again. So
Vicki,
I have not had any today.
that is so
None of the pie or
awesome.
cake.
High five, virtual high five for Vicki.
Absolutely.
Yay, you.
Because believe me, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, well, I don't blame
But I know
you.
it doesn't make me feel good either.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? We love it, we eat it, and then we feel like junk and we say, why did I eat that? I know, and we all go through that. I mean, I still go through that too. I'm not perfect. I'm work in
I feel
progress.
that
like we all are.
physically and then emotionally too, because I feel guilty for having
Yep.
done that. When I tell myself not to do that, but you know, I think sugar addiction is real.
Oh, you bet. You bet. And it's because they designed it that way, because they know that sugar lights up the pleasure centers in your brain. It produces dopamine, and that's the feel-good chemical. So when you're craving something, when you're feeling down or butchy, or you had a bad day or had a fight with somebody, it's the natural chemical instinct to want to feel better and to go for something sweet or something highly processed, because that's going to go to sugar very quickly. If it's really highly processed, it'll go to sugar while you're still chewing it. You don't even have to swallow it and it's already turning to sugar. So you're absolutely correct. It is very, very real. And it's an ongoing adjustment and negotiation with yourself as to when to eat it, how much to eat. And we had talked too the last time, Vicki, about another strategy. And I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's a good thing to mention. You had said that you had baked a cake for your daughter, I think it was. And when she came, and you said you had a piece of it and then you weren't happy with yourself. And we talked about perhaps the next time having, oh, she brought it. I think she brought it. What am I remembering? Did she bring it?
I've made cakes the last 2 weekends in a
Yeah.
row.
Yeah, okay. But we talked about having a smaller slice. So you didn't want to hurt her feelings, but have a smaller slice kind of thing. So there are ways that you can tweak it so you can fit in socially and not feel awkward that way, and still not do yourself in at the same time. So congratulations, Vicki. That's a biggie. That's a biggie.
Yes.
Yeah, very proud of you. Hazel.
Can I have something?
Sure.
As far as sweeteners are concerned, I like monk fruit or Swerve.
I don't know Swerve, but monk fruit I have used in the past, yes.
Right. And I find that I prefer those to any of the others.
Okay.
And as far as eating the wrong things, I have to be honest and say that if I'm out and I really have a craving for something, I will buy a packet if that's what it is.
Yeah.
I will eat a few, and as guilty as I feel throwing food away, I'll throw the rest away.
Well, that's good.
I know,
That's-
but then I think to myself, all those poor people that are hungry and
Well,
I'm throwing food away.
I know. I do the same thing. I do the same thing with leftovers if I don't get them gone in time. But I also take them up to my real estate office and leave them in the kitchen and they disappear like that. So I'm
Yeah,
like kind of a
right.
drop-off spot.
I don't have a real estate office.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I do like monk fruit and I do like swerve.
Okay.
Swerve is
I-
just like sugar.
Is it? Okay, I'm going to look into that because I'm not familiar with swerve. And monk fruit, Connie actually bought me some monk fruit packets one time when we roomed together at one of her conferences, and I liked it. I liked it very much. It's not super, super sweet. And there's a really good ice cream that's sweetened with monk fruit. It's so delicious. It's called So Delicious. It is So Delicious, but that's the name of it. So Delicious. And if you get it with the turquoise cover, it's made with coconut milk. And I think if I'm remembering, I haven't had it in a while, but if I'm remembering correctly, it has 1 gram of sugar in a serving. But it's not sugar, it's sweetened with monk fruit. So if you love ice cream and that's an issue for you, try one of the So Delicious. They've got a bunch of different flavors. They've got mint chocolate chip, butter pecan, vanilla chocolate. I thought they had a 5th one, but I don't remember what it is. But it's very good. It tastes like ice cream.
I'm sure it does, and I wouldn't trust myself.
Well, it's a small little pint.
I know
You
what
know?
it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust myself.
Well, you stick it in the freezer way in the back, so it's hard to reach,
Mhm.
you know,
Where
but
can you
no,
get
that's
it?
fine. That's fine.
Where can you get it, Cheryl? I haven't seen
I-
any of that.
I get it at Whole Foods. And I used to be able to get it at, there's a grocery chain here in Upper New England that's called Market Basket. And I used to be able to get it there, but I don't think they have the monk fruit sweetened. But if you go online and just Google, where can I buy So Delicious ice cream, they will give you names of retailers.
Okay, because I'm 2 hours away from the nearest Whole Foods.
Yeah, there should be another one like Shaw's, and I'm sure I'm not saying anything that makes any difference to you. Shaw's and Hannaford's. I don't know what you have down in Tennessee.
Not that much.
Yeah.
Eastern North Carolina, I'm in the boonies. I mean,
Yeah.
I have 10 miles just to get to a little town.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, do the Google, and you can also call So Delicious, and they should be able to tell you who would be the nearest retailer
I'll look.
close to you. But it's good. I mean, it's a really good, I find, because I mean, honestly, sometimes it's just like, I'm going to gnaw my arm off if I don't have something sweet. You know, I mean, it happens. So you can do things like, okay, I'll give you for instance, like you can have a little scoop of the vanilla ice cream with a few blueberries, which are not terribly sweet. And then there's a whipped cream that doesn't have junk in it. It's got some sugar, but it's, what is it? A gram of sugar in two tablespoons or something like that. I'll have to, I'll look at that for you. Let me make a note about whipped cream.
I use real whipped cream.
Do you make it yourself?
Absolutely.
Oh, good for you. And then there's no sweetening in it. It doesn't need to be sweetened, but just a little dollop of that. And that will stop those cravings, and you can treat yourself. And then when you know you can treat yourself, it's easier for you to say no to the stuff that you're going to be upset with yourself about later. I think.
Yeah, I've been trying to eat up all the bad things and get them out of the house.
Oh, don't eat them up, give them away or throw
I
them.
know.
Yeah,
I've been doing that for years. That's a problem.
yeah,
I-
yeah.
Yeah.
Leslie?
I just
Oh,
looked
Adrian.
and it said at least near me, Safeway and Target even carry it.
Oh, good. Do you have a Target
had a
anywhere
question.
near you?
Not one with food.
Oh,
that
really?
Carries food.
What about Walmart, I wonder? Because Walmarts, I think, have just about everything. I don't
I'll
know.
find it. I'll
Okay.
find it.
Okay, because it's a good one.
Because some of the Walmarts don't have the grocery section.
Oh, they don't? Okay, okay. Well, when all else fails, Vicky, I just call So Delicious and say, here's where I am. Where
Oh, I
can
can
buy
get it. I can get it at my local Ralph's, so
Yeah,
no.
that's kind of like Market Basket. Ralph's is kind of a basic
Mhm.
grocery store like Market Basket is. So Adriana, am I saying your name right?
Oh, Adriana works. I
Adriana.
answered everything.
How about hey you? No kidding. Hey you. Did you get a chance to look at the food journal at all?
No,
Okay, that's okay. You can look at it today. You didn't join us yesterday and I had some technical difficulties, so I just posted the redo of yesterday. So you can catch
Oh,
up with
good.
that and take a look. We'll take another look today at the food journal too, so you'll see what we're talking about. So let's talk a little bit about what we're drinking. I think the most important thing to do is to make sure that you're drinking water. If you're drinking water, you're not at risk of drinking things that are going to dehydrate you or they're going to bump up your glucose. So we need to make sure that we're drinking water. And I wanted to share, let me find this, where is it? Oh, I have too many things open here, hold on. I wanted to share this for starters. The first, no, that's not it. I'm sorry, bear with me here. Share screen. There we go. I wanted to share this. Our first season, one of our people, Tammy, said that she was drinking diet soda and she was drinking this flavored water beverage. And she realized when she went and she checked the, trying to find the ingredients. Sorry, I have so much to share with you here that I'm having trouble finding it. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, can you see the ingredients here? Can you see the ingredients? Did I share that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So one of the things that she didn't realize, and that's important for all of us to realize, is that when they do flavored water, especially big companies like Nestle, it's not necessarily water. So this has less than 0.5% of natural flavors. That's a red flag right out of the gate, because if it's natural flavors, why aren't they telling us what it is? If they're not going, well, we have, natural grape flavor, it's just natural flavors. And then if you look down here, sucralose, that is a sweetener. It's a diet, it's a non-sugar sweetener, but that's still going to bump up your glucose. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. And then you've got a bunch of EDTA and magnesium sulfate, and those are preservatives. Potassium benzoate, those are preservatives. So it's important to drink water rather than the flavored waters. If you drink a flavored water, and some of them are good, like the hint water just has the essence of the fruit in it, that's fine. You just want to make sure that there's not a laundry list like we saw there of other stuff. So, and the reason why if you're trying to avoid diabetes, water, first of all, for all of us, it prevents dehydration. It also helps your kidneys flush out excess sugar through your urine. So it's really important to drink water. Now, Leslie, just to address your tea, tea tends, because it's got caffeine, is it decaffeinated or regular tea?
Regular,
Leslie?
regular tea, black tea.
Regular tea, okay, regular black tea. So you're getting a lot of caffeine during your day with that, and caffeine tends to also dehydrate us. So just be mindful of that. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying that this is what the process is. So my suggestion to you would be every other drink maybe is water, every other is tea rather than tea. I don't know how you feel about that, but it might be worth a try. just to start to make some small shifts and small changes. So you can put that in your pipe and smoke it, as they say. So another thing I wanted to talk about was orange juice, because anybody here drink orange juice? No? No? Okay. Just juice in general. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you a little bit about whole fruit versus juice, and just use oranges as an example, because one of the main differences between drinking orange juice and oranges is that it's lower in fiber. It's not necessarily less in, you know, minerals and all of the other benefits, but 1 cup of orange juice has a similar amount of natural sugar as 2 whole oranges. 1 cup of orange juice, 2 whole oranges, and it's much less filling. So I doubt that if you're cutting up an orange and eating it, you're going to be eating 2 oranges. You might eat a half an orange. So that would be equivalent to the sugar in a half a cup of orange juice. But it's just better because the juice goes right to sugar very, very quickly. And it's nice to have that extra fiber to slow down the processing of the sugar in your body. It's just a good idea. And the fiber helps everything move along through your body. So it's going to help your elimination improve too, the more fiber that you use. So when you're thinking about drinking juice, it's much better to eat the whole fruit instead. Or another idea would be to have sparkling water or plain water and mash up some strawberries or mash up some blackberries and just make kind of an infusion, a water infusion, so you get the taste of the fruit. If you really want something sweet, take the stevia or take the xylitol, put it in a little warm water, because the xylitol especially needs the warm water to dissolve. And you can add that to the sparkling water or add that to the plain water, either by itself or with the fruit. It doesn't take a lot of effort to make something that's a fun drink. You add a sprig of mint to that, crushed blackberries, just the sparkling water and a sprig of mint, and you've got a delicious non-alcoholic cocktail. If you want it sweet, add a little bit of xylitol. But there are things that you can do that are going to help you, you know, go down the right path with what you're drinking and get more water in your body. So I want to talk a little bit about coffee, and I want to do a little bit of comparison between Dunkin' Donuts chai latte and Starbucks chai latte. So this is the Dunkin' Donuts chai latte. And you can see there's a good bit of sodium. I wouldn't expect there to be 168 milligrams of salt in a sweet tea, but look at the sugars. 52.8 grams of sugar in a chai latte from Dunkin' Donuts. And the recommended daily allowance or daily dose of sugar should be around 24 grams. And that's about 6 teaspoons of sugar, and that's for women. Men they say can tolerate a little bit more. So you have just blown it. If you've gone to Dunkin' Donuts for a chai latte, you have done more than twice as much sugar as you should do for the entire day in 1 cup of that chai tea. And let's look at the Dunkin' Donuts. I can find it in all my stuff here. That's Starbucks. Okay, there's the Starbucks. Okay, so sodium is a little bit lower, sugar is a little bit lower, but it's still well over the recommended sugar for the entire day. And, you know, another thing that's really good to do is to look at one meal, just isolate your breakfast. And I hadn't added this to it's just occurred to me. Look at what your breakfast is for one day, and bring it with you tomorrow, and we'll kind of go through what you ate and kind of get an idea of what the sugar content is in that one meal. I had a client one time who was just off the charts. By the time she finished breakfast, she had done about a week's worth of sugar. It's remarkable when you start to look at, especially if you're eating breakfast cereals and bagels and stuff like that. And again, there's no shame. You just need to know what it is and then make informed choices based on that. And then there are drinks like Red Bull, energy drinks and other ones, and those are loaded with caffeine and with tons of sugar because they bump you way up with your energy, get you all revved, but then you drop. And the goal is to keep it very even. You don't want to be too high or too low with your blood sugar. You want to keep it even. That's the key to having good energy, consistent energy, and feeling good all the time, not having those real drops. And there was a question that that Nancy had asked yesterday. She had a couple of good questions. Yeah, Adriana, that's for people who don't have diabetes. Yes, that's for people who are not dealing with pre-diabetes or diabetes. Adriana asked if the 6 teaspoons was recommended for people with diabetes. No, you want to avoid sugar as much as possible. Now, there's naturally occurring sugar, but you want to limit that and really monitor it so that, again, you can keep your blood sugar stable, because when your blood sugar goes up, your pancreas secretes insulin, which drops it down. And if your pancreas overworks, I mean, if you're full-blown diabetic, then when you prick your finger or read your arm thing, however you're set up to do that, you're going to get a high reading. But if you keep it static, then your pancreas is not going to work, and you're much more apt to be able to control a diagnosis of and back off a diagnosis of pre-diabetes than you are if you're eating a lot of sugar, which makes your pancreas work really hard. You don't want to do that. It's not in your best interest. So Nancy had asked about liquid intakes. Is there a minimum of water intake daily? And the whole discussion about water is so interesting, because for every argument that you have about one side of the argument, or the one side of the discussion, there's somebody else who says something different. So I think that in my opinion, with everything that I've read and heard, if you go for 6 to 8 glasses, 8-ounce glasses of water a day, you're probably doing pretty well. You don't want to drink so much water that you are overworking your kidneys. And then but you want to stay hydrated, and you want to have enough so that you're flushing any excess sugar out of your kidneys. So if you're, she asked also about what about a glass of wine or beer with a meal? That's another one that's open to discussion. If you talk to most doctors, they'll say that for women, 5 to 7 4-ounce glasses of wine, or I'm sorry, I don't quite remember the amount of beer at the moment, but 5 to 7 glasses of wine that are 4 ounces is acceptable for a woman. And then somebody else will say alcohol is poison and it's fine. And then I read something else where they're saying, yeah, you can have 2 glasses of wine a day. Now, the blue zones, where the 5 areas of the world that Dan, oh gosh, Dan, I can see his face, the cute guy, I can't remember his name, but that Dan has identified in the world, they drink red wine and they drink dark beer, and they live to be 100 or more. And they're engaged, they're social. A lot of them are still working. And there are places, I mean, Loma Linda, California is the one in this country. There is one in Greece, there's one in Sardinia, Italy, there's one in Okinawa, Japan, and then there's another one down in South America. So they regularly drink alcohol. So I guess the question is, are you doing it recreationally, or is it an issue for you? I think that's kind of the point where you need to be concerned. Other than that, you can find someone who will say you're doing a good job with your 5 to 7 glasses, or you're doing a good job with your 2 glasses. It's very hard to know because this is something that's in flux. And so Nancy, when you listen to this, you know, I mean, we can talk some more about it if you're on tomorrow or the next day, but it's open to discussion. It really is. And I think a lot of this is what works best for you. You kind of have to find what works for you. You can listen to all of this, you can learn all of this, and then you put it together with something that works for you. And then you can tweak it as you go along. As you learn more things, you can make adjustments. I'm doing that all the time with food, with drink, with exercise. I mean, I'm trying to move more. And part of that is because of the intermittent fasting group that a lot of us are in. That has certainly helped me realize that I need to do that, to do more of that. So another thing that Nancy had asked was relative to that. She said, should our food intake be modeled after intermittent fasting, eating during a window versus the theory of 3 to 6 small meals a day? Again, it depends what you subscribe to, who you're listening to. I have to say that when I was diagnosed as being hypoglycemic, low blood sugar, they told me I should be eating 6 to 8 meals a day and grazing. And for years and decades, I have been a grazer, and I just eat every 2 hours. I used to set my watch when I was severely hypoglycemic, so my blood sugar wouldn't drop. I would eat every 2 hours. Now, the intermittent fasting that's come along has changed that, and we have a window that we eat within, because now a lot of the wisdom says you're better off if you don't eat all the time. So for our purposes here, and this is not about, I mean, I'm not an expert in intermittent fasting, I'm learning, but I'm not an expert. But for our purposes here, I like to use the concept of a feasting window and a fasting window to help people limit what a lot of people struggle with, which is snacking at night. A lot of people are night snackers. So they'll eat, they'll be done at 7, and then at 9 or 10, they're back eating again. So I like to say, okay, let's shut it down after dinner. So if you're done at 7 or you're done at 8, shut it down for 12 hours. Just give yourself a 12-hour fast, and then you can break your fast with breakfast. And I think that's a good way to start. It's a good way to be mindful about what you're eating. And I think being mindful of what you're eating is a huge part of this, because so many of us stuff our pie holes with things and we just don't think about it. I mean, I'm one of them. You know, what do I have here? I have a bag of potato chips down there. Yes, I do. And I have a box of cashews too. And I mean, I'm careful about the potato chips I choose, but honestly, they're still junk food. They're still processed food, and it's not in my best interest to do that. So they've been there for a while. They're probably kind of stale. But you have to craft this so it works for you. And that's another reason why I don't like diets. I don't like people trying to do a diet. I think it has to be molded to what works for you and then changed and morphed over time. So Nancy, when you listen to this, I know you had a couple other questions, and I will address those as we get into topics that are more relative or relevant to those questions. But I hope that helps. Any question? Yeah, Hazel.
I ate 5 times yesterday.
Okay.
But I had already fasted for 14 hours.
Then you're good. I think the question
So
is,
I don't get that. Why can't you have, I mean, I don't usually start, well, this morning it was a little bit earlier because I had the 9 o'clock call, but I usually don't have breakfast until 11 o'clock.
Yep.
Because I don't start my fast until 9.
Yep.
Because I don't eat dinner early.
Yep.
You know, sometimes I don't start the fast till 9:30,
Yep.
but I still do 13, 14, or 15 hours.
Yep. So that's an
So-
excellent question, and it allows me to clarify. I wasn't clear with what I said about the 3 to 6 meals a day. The 3 to 6 meals, or 6 to 8 in my case, was spread over the entire day, my entire waking hours. When you're in your feasting window, you can eat as much as you're comfortable eating so that you're satiated. So if it's 5 meals, great. If it's 2 meals, great. But it's
I
in
didn't
that.
say meals. I said
Yeah.
5 times,
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine too.
not meals.
Yeah.
But
Two,
even
2
during,
meals and 3 snacks.
2 meals and 3 snacks. That's fine. That's fine because you're still adhering to your windows.
Mhm.
Yep. No,
but
thank you for that.
isn't intermittent fasting, even with the intermittent fasting, aren't we supposed to go at least 4, but better 5 to 6 hours between eating
Well,
I
a
have-
meal?
No, I have not heard that. If I missed that, then my bad. But no, I think you can eat as much as you want in your feasting window.
mhm.
I mean, you're encouraged. I mean, and this is something that I don't quite subscribe to entirely with intermittent fasting, but the wisdom seems to be that you can eat whatever you want. I kind of take issue with that. I think you should still make good choices, and maybe that's to be understood. But
I agree.
yeah. So I like to refine that a little bit more. But yeah. Good
Yeah, I
question.
don't eat, just because I ate 5 times, I didn't eat garbage.
Good. I wouldn't expect you would, Hazel.
No, definitely not.
Did one of them have ranch dressing?
Caesar dressing.
Oh, okay. It's another cream dressing. I haven't forgotten. I'll work on that ranch dressing for you.
I
haven't
couldn't have
forgotten.
Caesar salad without Caesar
Oh,
dressing.
there you go. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, I love Caesar salad too. I do love it. Okay. Any questions so far? Anybody else? Oh, Leslie, you're muted. I can see your lips moving.
Thank you. On one of the days, will you touch on protein quantities?
Rule of thumb with protein, I'll address it right now. I hadn't planned on it, but rule of thumb, we eat, in the States, we eat too much protein, and you're much better off to eat more vegetables and more fresh fruits, especially berries. But the wisdom is that the palm of your hand, your serving of protein should not be any larger than the palm of your hand or than the size of a single deck of playing cards. So if you're going out to a restaurant and you're getting a ½ pound of steak or something like that, some huge, some half a chicken or something like that, it's in your best interest to get a to-go box. And before you start to eat, just divide the meal in 2 and put half of it in the box and take it home. And then you've got what you need for that particular meal. We eat too much, and we eat too much protein, and they serve us too much quantity in the meals. The all you can eat, not doing us a favor. Hello, it's not in our best interest. So good question. Yeah, single deck of playing cards. That is kind of the rule of thumb for that, Leslie. Thank you for asking that. Okay, anything else before I give you some homework?
Homework?
What?
Did you say homework?
I did. Homework.
Mm.
Okay, I want you to continue or start if you haven't done the journal. And let's just take a look at the journal. Oh, my
I
journal.
didn't have time to fill that whole thing in.
Well, you don't have to. Just do a little bit of it. Okay, so this is the journal, and I emailed it, and it's filled in. It's set up so that you can fill it in online, or you can print it out. And
That was good.
yes, I know. You
I
requested that,
appreciate
Hazel.
that.
I know. So this page is good. You can do that, but this is the one that I really, and did I share? Can you see this?
No.
Can't see it. Okay. Well, that's not good. Let's see. Sorry, I was pointing to things. Share. Let's try this. How's that? Now you can see it.
Yep.
Yes, good. Okay, so
Yes.
this is the journal. And this is the first page. You can do that if you want. This is the one that I really want you to fill in. Food diary, and not just food. I want you to fill in what you're drinking, everything. And I don't care if you say, I don't want anybody to know I did that. If you have a whoopie pie and you say, I don't want anybody to know I ate a whoopie pie, nobody cares. It doesn't matter. That's not what you're here for. You're here so that we can all share, and I'll do the same thing. We can all share what we're eating so we can take a look at where we're starting in our GPS for better living and healthier living. You have to know where you're starting when you're going to get directions. So we know where we want to get. That's healthier mentally and physically, maybe lose some weight, maybe back off some sugar problems. We have to have a starting place, and this is your starting place. So please, please do that. Adriana, okay. Adriana says, I do intermittent fasting, but I still resist writing down what I eat. Can I ask why?
I'm not sure. I mean, I generally, for the most part, eat healthy. Although I certainly have my lapses.
We all do.
I know I need to do that and I just don't want to.
Okay, how about you and I strike a deal? How about you write down dinner and you write down breakfast? That's it. Dinner and
Well,
breakfast.
I only have lunch and dinner.
How
'cause
about we strike a deal? Lunch and dinner.
And you have no places in there for snacks.
You can just say snack, handful of almonds or something like that.
I wrote it on a piece of paper.
And that's fine too. That's fine too. If you just want to write it down, Adriana, that's fine too. And there are really no rules. We're just all in this together trying to move ourselves in the right direction. So that's fine. No pressure. Okay. So somehow, some way, please journal or write down at least 2 meals. I backed it off from 2 days to 2 meals of food and drink. Okay. And you've got the food journal if you'd like to use it. And then please post 2 photos in the Facebook group. One of the photos, something that you feel was a healthy choice, and the other, something that you feel was probably a choice you could have done a little bit better with. And how did you feel when you made those choices? Okay. Again, we're just trying to get down to the root of where we are. And a lot of eating has to do with how we're feeling. And sometimes when we get in trouble, it's because we had a really good day. And sometimes when we get into trouble, it's because we had a really bad day. But if you become aware of that, and you can stop and say, okay, I had a fight with my boss, and I want, for me, it would be, I want a donut because I love donuts. They don't love me back, but I love donuts. So just being aware of that makes you stop. And I know, Vicki, you mentioned one time to me that you weren't happy yet with the choices you were making, but you were making more informed choices. You were stopping and thinking about the choices that you were making. And that's huge. That is such a huge step forward, because it's the unconscious eating that can get us into trouble. So if you would be so kind as to do 2 posts in the Facebook group. And I think that's pretty much what I've got for you today. So any last minute questions, arguments, concerns, complaints before we wrap up for today?
Hopefully I can work out how to take a photo with my phone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No,
You can do that.
Always screws up.
Yeah, that's okay. Again, work in progress. I'll try not to erase or write over its recording. What can I say?
Well, you can't. It's in the cloud.
I recorded it to well, this one is in the cloud. So my challenge will be finding it in the cloud, because last time you told me to do this early on during the anti-diet solution. I did it, and then I couldn't find it.
But usually it comes up on the Zoom page
Okay,
and you should be able to click on it
okay,
and
I
it
hope-
gives you the link for the recording.
okay, all right.
At least it has always on mine.
I'll hope that happens. I'll figure it out one way or the other. At least I can't overwrite it if it's in the cloud. All right, thank you so much for coming today. I hope I see
Thank
you
you,
all
everybody.
tomorrow.
Have a great day.
Yeah, good to see you
Cheryl.
all. And any
too.
questions, I'm here for you. Any questions, just shoot me an email. I love it when you get in touch with me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.